The night my father asked me to carve the roast, I realized something was wrong with the meat. The knife sank in too easily. The smell wasn't right, not beef, not lamb, something sweeter, almost metallic. Everyone at the table was watching me. My mother smiled too wide. My younger brother kept his eyes on his plate, not moving. That was the first sign that dinner wasn't what it seemed. In our family, meals were sacred. No phones, no guests, no skipping a single dinner, ever, Dad's rule. He used to say, families that eat together stay together. But as I got older, I realized the rule wasn't about love, it was about control. Mom would whisper reminders before every meal. No questions at the table, just gratitude. When I was 10, my cousin Myra came to stay for the summer. One night, she asked what was in the stew. The next day, she was gone. Dad said her parents picked her up early. Mom cried for a week, but never called Myra's house. After that, no one ever asked about the food again. Years passed. I moved away for college, but came home every Christmas. The same table. The same heavy dishes. The same strange meat. One winter, during a storm, the power went out while Mom was cooking. I went down to the basement to grab candles and saw something behind the freezer. A stack of old ID cards, each with familiar faces. Cousins, uncles, even neighbors who had moved away. Every photo had been scratched across the eyes. When I confronted Mom, she said nothing, just told me to go back upstairs before dinner got cold. That night, the stew tasted different. I couldn't take it anymore. I snuck back home a month later while my parents were out. I wanted proof, something I could show the police. The freezer was locked, but Dad's study key opened it. Inside were neatly wrapped parcels labeled with initials, LM, CJ, empty, each one vacuum sealed, each one flesh. My stomach turned as I realized what I'd been eating my whole life. When I stepped back, my brother was standing behind me. He said, "You shouldn't have seen that." His tone wasn't scared. It was calm, almost proud. He explained that the family had a pact. The special meals started generations ago, not for survival, but for unity. Each person who questioned it became the next ingredient. Dad called it the cycle, and apparently it was my turn. I woke up in the cellar, tied to the table. Mom was crying softly while sharpening knives. Dad stood beside her, whispering prayers. My brother held the phone, recording everything. Families that eat together stay together, Dad said. But I'd learned something they didn't know. Dad's pacemaker had a remote override app. I found it years ago when he forgot his password. While they argued over the cut, I reached into my pocket and pressed a button on my phone. The room filled with the sound of a single gasp, then silence. Dad collapsed instantly. My brother dropped the phone, screaming. Mom froze. I cut myself free with the carving knife. They tried to run, but the basement door locked from the inside. I didn't chase them, I didn't have to. When I left the house that night, the fire had already spread from the oven to the curtains. I watched from the hill as the glow painted the sky. Now, every year, I set a table alone, keeping one empty chair in the middle. And before I eat, I whisper, families that eat together, burn together.